what made Ronnie so different? Ronnie just worked harder than anybody else. He
Mm-hmm.
just was willing, and he started. Remember, he started at the bottom as a bottom feeder, and he was a guy who grinded his all the way to the top. And if you watch the video, it's like I never bitched when I was 15th, 11th, 12th, 13th, ninth, 8th, and now he's the best in the epitome of men's bodybuilding. And Linda was too. Those are the cornerstones. People talk about Arnold, and things like that. But when you look at Ronnie, you look at Linda, they were people who just were amazing in their prime, in their time. And those are two people I would just love to come back and see, because again, we're talking about the 90s era too. So we're talking about actual work, lifting weights, hard work, all the things that the bodybuilding is not saying it's getting away from. I don't know if you guys have seen, in the off subject, I don't know if you guys have seen the thing that Tabor Gundy's brother just announced. He was like, I'm tired of seeing this fake muscle, meaning synthol, the oil injection. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like,
Oh
we're
yeah.
going,
Oh yeah,
I
oh
said,
yeah.
wait a minute.
I saw that.
And I looked at it, I said, I know legends. I know legends from the 90s who use a lot of that shit. There's guys in the present day who
Hmm.
use a lot of that shit. Hade Koopa, Big Ramy. There's some guys out there, like you can see it. I'm like, so what are you telling me? What you're telling me is that you're going to start deducting these guys for the fake muscle and not the real hard work? Is that what you're telling me? Because some guys are gonna be fucked. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Hmm.
Huh.
If that's what you're saying.
And
Well,
also,
that's so
also,
hypocritical, though. Sorry, that's so hypocritical because they'll get upset about something like synthol, but they won't get upset about all the fucking PEDs,
Yeah,
all
that's what.
all the injectables and all the shit that they have to take.
Well,
We're
and,
gonna
and if you
focus on synthol?
and if you listen
Really?
to what he says, it's because synthol, and you can see pictures of Hade, and you can see pictures of Big Ramy. I remember competing against Big Ramy at the New York Pro. I think I was fourth or fifth, and that was the first time I had ever seen a man walk by me, and I was like, "Holy fuck, that's a big ass dude." He wasn't in shape, but he was big enough to win. But you can tell the synthetic aspects of things that's going on with
Yeah.
him, and
hmm
even like people
yeah,
pointing out Hade Koopa, his shoulders, certain parts of his body where you can see that things are off, and that's synthol. I remember somebody telling me a story about Marcus Rule at the New York one show, and it was needles backstage, like he had toop 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 toop, and then you pump up, and and I'm like, so now you guys want to bring this shit up now? We're in
Right.
2025, and
Right.
now you want to sit here and say we're going to start calling out the people with fake muscle. Well, no offense and all, and Jeremy, you are absolutely right when you say that to a degree. PEDs, but I don't know how I would say this. PEDs is a precursor to what we do, but the synthol enhances the muscle. Because if you look at pictures back in the day of like Kevin LeBron and Flex, the pictures of them, they had these round muscle bellies, and it almost made them look cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was
Mm-hmm.
synthol. And so, and if you look at some of the guys now on stage, you can see, some of like and I won't say their names, but some guys, the more roundness to their muscle, because that's synthol. That's not fucking hard work. So I get it. But now you're going to sit here and talk about, we're going to start calling out the guys. I said, so you're going to call out who was, Hadi was runner up to Samson. So you're going to call out the runner up at the Olympia this year for using that shit. Is that what you're
hmm
going to do? I
Right.
can't wait to
yeah,
see it if you
yeah,
do.
yeah. Anyway, we have here a man, KLA the Wanderer. He just popped in. Welcome,
Yeah,
brother. Thank you for coming
hey, what's going
through.
on?
Hey, man.
Yeah, we
Hey,
got some
what's
comments
going
here
on?
hey, how you doing? We got some comments here from guys here. Yeah, they're popping in. A lot of guys have their favorites here. We got here from man Warrior 2000, looking cool, Keith, with all the red on, looking like DMX. Love the shirt, David too.
Thanks.
Also, Warrior point one out that I think is pretty. It's I think a lot of guys would say probably would love to see come back. Give me a second here. It's also it
Yes.
says Colette Nelson is a name I want to
Oh yeah.
return, but it's probably wishful thinking because I follow Colette. I know she recently just got her nursing license a while back. She still looks in good shape. I know a lady who I did an interview with her. She used to be a friend of her. I used to work with as a coach. That's Tina Wilson. Also, this is from Stefan Praise says Candy Canary is awesome. As you know, it was year before last. Candy actually made her return. She did the USA Championship. She took, I think, 4th or 5th. I was in contact with her for a bit, but I don't know what things going on. I think she's still. I think if I'm seeing her on social media, she's been on training. She's working out. She might be thinking of competing. This Candy is one example. Candy was just she's kind of like one person I think I put Candy in line with is with Tina Lockwood. Very great physique, very feminine, great muscle. She had size, but I remember a story with her. She got married and she became, what is it? A missionary. So
Yeah.
she stopped competing after that. And then I think story was I was told that her husband got divorced. There was a miscarriage. She already had 2 children from a previous marriage, but and now she's coming back. Here we got another one
actually,
from man.
Candy was a pastor. I thought it was interesting that she was a pastor and a bodybuilder, and she does look like she might return to competing. She was on my list that I wrote down of folks I'd like to see return too. So I agree with Stefan on that one. Sorry, go ahead.
Remember the girl Chris Morrell who never competed, turned pro but never competed. And she was. I remember seeing her, and I'm like, man, she would do so well. She got her pro card but never competed. It was crazy.
Yeah, I noticed she's in the comments.
My man. Yeah, because my man Chris Mayer says Chris Pereira didn't even get a chance to debut in the IFBB. Yeah, I remember Chris Pereira, and we keep talked about it quite a few times. She went off to start acting. She was in the sequel Grown Ups. She did some couple of stuff here and there. Also, this is from Warrior, and this is a good one. He says, and Judah Bichette is also another I was thinking about, but again, wishful thinking. And Judah was amazing. I always felt like this. Instead of splitting the title back in 2000, they should have just gave it to Andrew. No offense to Valentina. She looked good. I think Valentina was a precursor for women's physique. Even though she was competing as a heavyweight, she looked more like a lightweight. And even that Andruda was a lightweight, she looked more like a heavyweight. She's like, I think she had great muscle, great look. I mean, I always feel like that
my old coach Chris Bongiovanni. She was a great one too.
Oh yeah.
We remember Chris. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know she took some pictures with a lady I did an interview out back on Ina Unit. Ina, she had a great physique, a great body. I know she stepped away because of personal reasons, stuff like that. But that's I shout out to Ina. We still stay in contact as often as we can. We talked on IG. I think she's a great person. Did an interview with her. This is from a man from Warrior. Shout out to Warrior. He agrees you too, Keith. He says, yeah, Ronnie Coleman for me. Yeah, Ronnie Coleman is a great one. I think if I think about any guy, I would say if I go with a guy, I would say Flex. Flex. If like I know he lost his leg and stuff he went through, but Flex, he had a great physique, great mind. It's amazing. I mean, when I was really into the guys when I was younger, I think he was one of the great ones. We got my man, I'll tell mine and afterward, my man KL is he doesn't so much follow the sport per se, but he is a fan of the women of muscle. So do you have anybody
What does that mean? Hey, break it down.
You have to say you sometimes you don't know the names, and then
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but
I mean, one thing you mentioned Andrilla Bluchette. I was into her like that. One person I would like to see come back. What was her name again? It just slipped on my mind, yo. Like maybe Marge Martin. I would like to see come back. Alina Popa. That's Alina Popa. That was like my number one person that was in my head. Alina Popa.
What was it, 08 or 09 when she should have been Iris, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
No, actually, it was like 2013, 2014 when she could have beat her.
Yeah.
Because in 2012, there was always talk that they say Demi Lovinski should have won in 2012. And I think somebody said that she felt she should have won. But I would give Alina. I mean, I remember I got to see Lena in person. Keith knows Lena because Lena was Tina's coach for a good while. And as she mentioned, she even mentioned that somebody said, hey, they told both her and Linda say, hey, you're a former Miss Olympia, you're a former Rise Phoenix champion, you can still qualify for Olympia. But Liz says, nah, she's not gonna do it. And Lena, she's focused on the business, she's a promoter, she wouldn't do it. She's really, I don't know, if it'll probably take a good while for she'll get that muscle back that she had.
Well, here's the
Um,
thing. They're smart because they know they're making more money doing what they're doing than competing. So if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true. Good
yeah.
point.
Yeah, we have here comments here from my man War 2000. Shout out to War. He's been here, trusting
Yes,
brother. The Kai Green should return.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He would really bring a lot of people to want to come to the Olympia if he competes. Kai Green, that's a great one. Great poser, great style. I mean,
Mhm.
him and his rival with Phil Heath. That really set the standard for bodybuilding.
I think the two people, guys wise, who got trumped and never should have actually got Olympia titles was probably Kai and probably Flex, but never got their titles. That was two dudes that should have been rightfully Olympians at some point in time who just got railroaded, in my opinion.
Well,
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
you remember the do you remember the what is it? The reporters meeting that one year with Kai Green and Phil Heath?
Yes.
How they went at it on stage?
Well, yeah. Remember
And
that
then
was
it's like Kai was saying shit about Phil Heath's dad, who had
yeah.
just passed away. So it's
Ooh.
like and then but also Kai, he went up there and said, said Phil Heath said, when did you win the Olympia? He said, it's last year. He said, really? Why don't you have a title? Kai still insisted that he won.
Oh,
Yeah, because
So
that
I
was
so I
that
so
was
I
the year
was like,
Generation Iron came out. That was the year Generation Iron came out. So
yeah,
yeah, it
it
was
was
pretty.
like the pre-show press conference that
Yeah,
the two of them did. So if you ever want to see what I'm talking about, just look that up, and you can they posted somebody did posted the whole go between the two of them. But I was like, damn guys, rein in the egos,
Ooh,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
please.
did you guys see the post where Kevin said how Weeder explained to him why like him and Flex and Sean never won a title because keeping them where they were making more money than being the Mr. Olympia because they can go out and do other shows. But he had if you ever get a chance, go to YouTube. Kevin LeBron breaking down why Weeder never made them champions because Kevin had a right to be a champion at one point in
Mhm.
time. Flex had a right. I would say Sean was a little too small, but he was always in the mix. But he explained to them, and I trained with Flex for a whole year. I moved out to California, and he told me when he left Weeder and chased after the money, that's when Ronnie became the champion. And so, he said if and this is quote from Flex, that was his biggest regret in his career was chasing the money and not staying with Weeder, and then lost the championship that next year
Ah.
Yeah.
to Ronnie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
it depends on who it is because there was a scandal way back in the day, like in the really early '80s, with a female bodybuilder named Anita Gandol.
Oh, yeah.
She got in
Yeah.
big trouble because she decided to do a
For
centerfold
Playboy.
for Playboy.
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
that.
And
Yeah,
so and
yeah.
so she got suspended for a year, and she got a fine. But the sad part is that she made more probably
yeah.
off of that centerfold than she ever made in her entire career as a female bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So it's
But
like,
why is
yeah,
that?
so it's like fine, suspend them, fine, go into the fine. She's walking away with the money.
Yeah.
I
And
always
Why
we're
is it
thought
a
So
and,
big
and think
deal?
about it, Jeremy. We're
I,
still talking about the money today, and it's
right,
not done. So can you imagine back then? Like shit.
yeah.
Yeah. Wait, but say Cam.
no, I was saying, why is it such a big deal? Like these women, they'll do other things outside of the sport, and they get penalized for that. And
Because
they're half naked on stage. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't make no sense to me.
it's a big difference being half naked on stage and being completely naked in a magazine. Like Playboy is very, most companies have
Right.
some kind
It
of
was a nude spread. So
yeah, most companies
right.
has a policy. And really, you think about it, Playboy had the most women. Like China was in like 2 or 3 times. I know a couple of other ladies I'm trying to remember who did
Pamela
Playboy.
Anderson. I mean, shit.
Pamela,
Like,
Yeah,
well,
I
Pamela
remember
Anderson's not a
that.
bodybuilder, I would say, but yeah, but yeah, a lot of people did because hey, it was about making money and also getting
yeah.
recognition. Here we got
But
another from my man Warry Sal says,
oh yeah,
Juliana Monacarne, I would love her to turn in WPD. As you know, she's had moved on. She's a mom. She's married, but yes,
Hey, the funny thing, I just saw George
Julian
pictures of her last
Marcon.
week of her. Let's see.
Hmm?
I remember Georgia's picture I sent you of her.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she looked great. She just, I
Oh yeah,
mean,
she was beautiful.
yeah, I
She
think,
was Mrs. WPD for the longest time.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So
she owns the title 4 years now. Sarah has tied for the title. We got one from my man Chris here. He says, he just dropped. He says, Marcus the Comet Haley. I remember him from back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, great body, amazing physique. I think he looked pretty good. Also, he has another one here. He dropped King Kamali. He would have been epic return. I think he's now been coaching because a while back I interviewed a lady who was one of his clients. Now she's no longer his client. He just wish whatever. This is also shout out to Warrior says that was weird as hell in the 2000 Miss Olympia, giving the award to both competitors, Valentina Shapigin and Andrea Bachet. And that's the thing, because remember back then they decided to create the weight classes. And Drew was a heavyweight. And Drew was a lightweight, and Valentino was a heavyweight. And
Yeah.
it should have just instead of just they just did like to split the baby. Just I think here what it was. Valentino was a champion that the IFBB wanted, very feminine, great muscle, and Drew was a champion that the people wanted, great muscle, huge, just amazing, and still she was also attractive young lady. I mean, she was competing since she was a teenager, and she came back, didn't get the title. They gave it to Julia Bergman. That was another return. She was had to compete for nearly 13, 14 years, working behind the scenes as a official and a judge, and comes back and wins the title.
Hey, you guys remember Sarah Hayes?
yes, I remember
Oh
her.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
She's
Remember
the
that?
last I checked, she's a professor now.
Hey,
She's like she's like a teacher in weight training.
well, it's crazy.
She has her like she's a professor of strength and conditioning. I'm trying to remember of where it
Yeah,
actually is, but yeah, she's done very well since her bodybuilding career.
yeah. I trained her as an
'Cause-
amateur, and I remember when she moved. She moved from Minnesota to Texas and got caught up with the Branch Warren scandal, and Trish found out.
yeah,
Ooh.
What
some
happened?
Well, like Trish found out that Branch and Sarah were fucking around or something, and they got out, and so that's
Oh,
when that's when Branch started coming out and thinking, acknowledging his wife and all this shit. Because I think the Trish extended the olive branch and says, you fucked up, but you fuck up again, you're in trouble. So
wow.
Yeah,
yeah,
Sarah was a very, very beautiful woman. I
yeah,
could, yeah, I can understand, Chris Warren's not bad looking woman. I can understand why Branch did what he did because But here we got one from my man Stefan Perez says Alina Popo was great. Yeah, she's great. She could have been Miss Olympia, and I think it's probably saved it back in 2014. Also, Vince Taylor returned with his awesome routines. Yeah, I heard this. I was watching Tariq and Chris Camille. They talked about this. This kid had a great physique. I think he's been the Masters champion back in I think in the '90s. I think Vince was a great physique, great style. I mean, if he come back now, I don't know if he can come back now because I think he got to be in his mid 60s now.
What about Sheila?
Sheila.
Sheila Black.
Sheila.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
I'd
wow,
love to see her come
wow.
back.
Yeah.
Love to
Yeah,
see her come back.
I would love to
She
see her
for a
come back.
lot.
I think it was. I think she did that move. She went over the women's physique, and I think it might have been maybe the better move for her because she never really got that size.
She
She's
just
kind of
was
like
always conditioned.
yeah. I put it like I did a comparison with her and Jada, and they just had that same kind of great, meaning that Jada was physique competitor, switch over women's bodybuilding, great lean, great definition. I figured I posted somewhere. Jada liked it, but she didn't like it too much.
Oh, I see.
Here,
Well,
yeah,
also Sheila got in trouble because she called out people
Yeah,
in behind the scenes when WBB, especially at the Rising Phoenix one year
yeah,
Oh,
when I remember she was like criticizing it because there were people, I guess, who copied her some of the poses that she was doing,
yeah,
and she's had a real. I mean, she is so into posing. She's like
yeah.
yeah.
She's like Diana Dennis back in the day. She takes her posing very, very seriously,
Very.
and
Yeah,
that's why
well,
she's such a good posing coach today. But then she said it's like people were copying her, not giving her credit, such like that. So I mean, I mean, it's unfortunate if that in fact is what happened. If that really is the case, it's like, geez, what a slap
Well,
in the face that is.
I followed some people that know her and said she's going through some medical stuff. Her and her sister, Sherry, was doing a little business together, and that didn't work out. I think she was living in right about Oregon, and then she moved to, I believe, to Vegas recently. You know what I heard. Here we get here from a man, Curtis, Jordan Jr. Curtis says Sue Myers is one I like, but she retired. Bogus dude.
Yeah, I
So,
remember.
Yeah, I liked her a
Remember
yeah,
lot.
that, man.
She's amazing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Also, Stephen Prey has another. He says Yabzini
Yeah,
Orkini. Now
yeah,
she
yeah,
she
she's
came
awesome.
back in 2020, and she still looks in good shape. I don't know if she wants to compete anymore because she's got a business now. She's focused. I heard that she got divorced a while back. Her and her husband they were married. I think they got divorced a few years ago.
then
But
she had an injury. That's why she retired. Not to cut you off.
no, I don't think it was an injury. I think she just retired because she started a business and running her own gym. No
Uh,
injury that I've ever heard of. Maybe, but
I,
I think she's retired to retire.
I heard that before, but I could be wrong.
No, no, it's not right because it happens like it. Sometimes you hear this story, hear that story. Some people just retire because they got tired of it, or they just injuries do come up. But then it's always how they feel this injury really might hinder them in the future if they want to come back and compete. If it's something serious, like a good example with Ronnie, his thing with his back injury, he kept competing, instead of getting surgery, and now he's
In a wheelchair.
he had a wheelchair. It's tough. Here we got here from my man. Shout out to my man, Chris. He says Kai did kind of cross the line, mentioning Phil Heath dad. It was uncalled for, but I understand the tension. Yeah. Also, this is from Chris. He says Xeni was so gorgeous in the early 2000s. I think she had a great physique. Also, this is from my man Warrior. He says uh, Daylin Bailey, wishful thinking, but she would be a great return. She's still in
Yeah,
good shape, but I don't think she can do physique. I don't think she can even do figure. That, you
Um,
know,
yeah, she might be too small for figure now.
yeah,
there are two women that just came to mind immediately. Since everybody says all about facial beauty, it's like, okay, two women that I would love to see come back: Sharon Brunel
Yeah,
from back in the day.
Sharon Bruno.
Absolutely. I mean, her last
Yeah.
name Bruneau.
hmm,
yeah.
Stunningly beautiful woman. I mean, had a
I,
great physique. She would not be able to do bodybuilding. She would be
hmm,
yeah.
destroyed in that because that was her config. I would say probably figure for her.
hmm.
She actually, I
So I would be. I mean, she would do. I think if she was in the same shape that she was then, I think that would probably figure would beat her division. But another one that came up is just like Lenda, had an absolutely stunning physique, great overall package, nice mass, symmetry, proportion, and such. And also, since people talk about facial beauty, Gina Davis.
Hmm,
Yeah,
that would be a good one. Yeah.
She was amazing competitor,
yeah.
beautiful woman,
yeah,
had a
yes,
killer physique. She's still very much in bodybuilding now in retirement. She does G-force training
Hmm.
is her coaching, and I think the thing
Yeah, I
that's
think she's
really
at
that
Oklahoma, right? She's
yeah,
at Oklahoma.
right, and the thing I think is really cool, just looking at what she does, she and a whole bunch of other IFBB pros offer free posing clinics every month
Wow.
at the gym that they work at the gym that Gina now does her coaching at. There's what is her name? I'd have to go look her up. But she's coached someone right now who's looking really good, and she just got her IFBB pro
Yeah,
card.
she used to coach my boy
So
Steve Kuklo
yeah,
mm,
at his gym.
what I heard about her, and I've actually seen interviews with her that kind of confirm this, is that one thing I really like about her, she's no bullshit.
No,
Hmm.
If she flat out does not think you have what it takes, or if she thinks that you don't have the physique, she'll tell you.
yeah,
She won't
yeah.
try to sugarcoat it. She'll just simply say, "Look, I've been in this a long time. I looked at your structure. I've looked at your genetics." Or it's like, "I've seen what you're able to do. This isn't either you are cut out for this, or you're not cut out for it." She won't sugarcoat it. But I think in this day and age, I think that's a good thing because people try to soften the blow, and some people try to soften it to the point where it gets missed.
Yeah.
where the actual message gets missed. So when someone cuts through the bullshit and says, I will be able to take you up to this point. But that's just being honest. But that's what I love about her is that number one, she's a tremendous competitor. And number two, she's still very much involved in bodybuilding, giving back with all of her years of expertise, just now in a coaching capacity. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I actually a while back, Sharon Bernard reached out to me. He sent me an email, and we were hoping to try to set something up for an interview. Maybe whenever she gets back to me, I would love to have her because I love talking to legends. Like when I talked to Nancy Lewis a while back, it was great. Nancy still looks great, and especially she's in her mid-50s. She looks great. Here we got someone that my man shout out to my Warrior. He says, "Agree with you, Keith." He says, "Sheila Black. I was just thinking about her, Keith." Yeah. Also, here we got here from Stephen Prey. He dropped a couple of names here. He says Heather Armburst and Kazi Colum. Heather, I've seen Heather now. Heather looks like she could, but I think I heard that she's dealing with arthritis. I don't know. The posing will be kind of strange on her, but she looks like she's in good shape. She looks in good condition. Very attractive woman, great physique.
She's gorgeous. I always
who
like
was the black girl with her name was Monique something? I think she turned pro at NASCAR.
Monique Jones?
Yes.
Yeah, she's retired now. Yeah,
Yep.
but I like her a lot too. Yeah.
I was stunned as to her again her proportions. I remember she was on a interview with Giles, what's his name, over on Muscular Development on their podcast, and the thing that just boggled my mind was he even pointed this out. She said she downsized to 195.
Yeah.
She downsized to that.
Amazing.
From 200 220.
I just remember.
So one of the big one, but it's like that's my nickname for her is Big Mo Jones.
I just
because hey, it fits.
She had to wear glasses, and they had to take them off before she went on stage, and so they had to kind of walk her on stage because she's kind of blind as a bat. And they had to get her glasses back when she got on stage, off stage, because she can't see without her glasses. So it was crazy as hell. I'm like, it's called LASIK.
Yeah.
Wow.
She had Monique had one, probably still to this day, has some of the best back development I have ever seen.
I had to
bodybuilding. She's like Paula Suzuki almost.
Who's this?
So that's her.
Monique.
That's Monique.
That's her now.
Wow.
I mean, she's in South Carolina. She works quite. This ladies have done some interviews with that. Worked with her. She works with Trey Hodge because Trey Hodge was a coach, and even though she has not competed, she still looks good. I posted stuff about her. She said thank you. I mean, great.
I interviewed
great muscle.
Lynn Elm recently, and Lynn Elm is actually working with Monique as a coach and just a good friend too. But
I think one of those shots is of her back when she was in trim, and you'll see what I mean when it's like I'm trying to remember where it is, but it's like it'll show all of it. It's just the sheer back development that she's got is just incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I met her once at the Arnold Classic. Holy shit! When that woman hits a front lat spread, her back is as wide as a pole barn is long. No kidding. I mean, it's a thing of muscular beauty. So she as a competitor, she's just absolutely amazing.
And why did she stop competing?
Personal reasons. I think
That's a good question.
I think it's personal reasons. I think she competed in 2020 and she qualified for the Olympia. She was in top 5 that year. And then I think, because I remember one time when they said the dominant for rising Andrea, even though I love Andrea, Monique was most muscular. She should have got that.
She was one of the biggest ones out there.
She was one of the biggest ones. I mean, but she still looks pretty good. I don't know, maybe keep a couple of years, whatever, because come back and maybe she can try it. She's trimmed down a little bit, but whenever she's ready.
And again, look at her
the sport's
beautiful
going to be always
face.
here
She's
for
just
it.
feminine still. God.
Yeah.
Same with Gina. I mean, she never lost that. I mean, even when she was competing. So she did. I think she did a pro debut. Gina did, but I think that was it for her. She didn't do a lot as a pro. So I
Yeah.
think she left
Here,
because she didn't want to do what you had to do to be able to get really up there.
Yeah. Here we got a comment from my man Chris. He says, I love Sarah Hayes. Also from a man, Wardside says, Debbie Lenetsky. You know, yes, that was a great.
Lishevsky. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
Lenetsky,
another great competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Also,
like
yeah.
even if you
Also
see
got here from a
Kim,
man.
who's that?
Go ahead.
No, I
Go
said
ahead,
even if
Keith.
you see Kim Shaselsky today, man, if you go on her IG, she's still be at her age, she's still banking.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, she is. She
She's
looks
still
good.
banking.
and
Still looks
her son is following in the family footsteps.
Yeah,
He
that's
just
Yeah, her
right.
oldest
competed, and
son.
I think he just competed and won. But it's like you got the genetics of
Yeah,
like Kim and it's Nichols, right?
Chad
Chad
Nichols.
Nichols.
Chad
Nichols,
I
Nichols.
yeah.
mean, you
Did,
got that kind of a background and that kind of a genetics. How
Yeah.
can you not do bodybuilding?
Yeah.
didn't he at the
So,
Olympia a couple years ago get in
With
Sean
Sean. Yeah,
Sean's face? I saw that video. Me personally like this, boy, this is something between two men. You're this man and your daddy. I understand you want to defend your daddy, but that's something your daddy should have stepped up to do.
yeah.
Boy, you know his place.
And the crazy thing is, the youngest one that nobody knows about is a fucking stud at football. He's broke every. I think at like the age of 12 or 13, he was like bench pressing 405.
Oh, right.
And the funny thing, I was talking to Chad because doing shows, and all these parents when he started playing football, like, oh, his kid's on steroids. So basically, Chad says, I'll put $10,000 down, and you put $10,000 down, and we'll do a drug test of my children.
Oh,
And
wow.
they all shut the fuck up. Seriously, they all
Yeah,
shut up.
yeah,
So
shut
they're
the
like,
fuck up. Yeah, shut the
I
fuck
was
up.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Well, I saw Chad was in the hospital, but he had a stroke. How he's doing? How he's doing?
I think he's doing all right. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where training all the athletes that he was training in the high stress, you know, because like, you know, now here in this region, I found out from my posting coach Robert that like Chad and Kim had a lot of shows. They only got 3 shows now, and then Jack Tatone has all the shows now.
Mhm.
And I think because they just weren't promoting them well, and they had great shows, they just weren't promoting them well. So they got 3 shows, and then Jack has the rest right now because you know,
Yeah,
for some reason.
yeah.
But it's not.
I know. I just interviewed Juno Garhire. If you ever know her, she did one
Yeah,
of the
she's from
shows.
Topeka. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm interviewing a young lady who just did the in bikini. She did a show also that was promoted by the Nichols. Here we got a comment here from shouts to my man Vinny. Welcome Vinny says, I miss Bronca and Michelle Jitt. Bronca, the joke of it, Bronca, her body was crazy. I feel like they cheated her, and gave hell. I'm a fan of Hella, but Bronca should have been third.
Mhm.
I've been in contact with her. She's right now, her daughter just got married some time ago. She just said she's just going through stuff. She just, but she's still in great shape, especially for a woman in her 50s. I think if she wants to, and if whatever things get settled, took care of, she might come back. She just needs some time to really go through some stuff. I mean, she's family things, personal things. I think her coach passed away some time ago, but she had a great physique, beautiful lines.
Good. Yeah.
She should have been third. No offense to Hella. Hella should have been fourth that year. She still come back because she was the 2-time Rising Phoenix champion. But Hella, to me, Bronca should have been third, and I think she deserved that spot.
Okay, here's a question for all you guys because you guys know a lot, way more about female bodybuilding products besides KO probably. If you were to take all those names we just put into a bowl, who would be your number one epitome of what women's bodybuilding should be about today?
Gotta be Linda.
Out of all the names that you just mentioned, or all the names that we mentioned right now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gabby Linda.
I'm gonna go with Gina.
Gina.
I'm gonna go with Gina Davis. I mean, even though she didn't have a long career as a pro, I think she still looked great. I mean, all kudos to Linda because I mean she's got the titles. I mean she's the same way. I just saw her on CT Fletcher's podcast. F y'all is the name of his podcast, and I just saw her. She's looking just as good as she did 30 years ago.
Wow.
So it's like stunning.
Yeah, David.
I'd like to mention one we haven't talked about yet, but I just love Danny Reardon. She was absolutely my favorite, and I was sad when she retired. I know she's probably not going to come back. But I just loved her look and her personality, and she was so fan friendly too. You know, she loved the fans. So
Dan, but you didn't give me your answer yet.
What?
Well,
David
he said,
didn't
"What
give
the,
me his answer yet? I got
the bowl? What all the names you mentioned? You just mentioned Danny. All the names we mentioned earlier, other than Danny, who would
and
you?"
unless the titles, like Linda has all, we understand that. But who would be right now in 2025 out of all the names we just mentioned? Who would be your girl that you say that would be the epitome of women's bodybuilding right now? If all out of all the girls you mentioned,
I have to think about that.
It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, all those women, I mean, were such stunning competitors, so it's like hard to pick just one name.
I like somebody in the comments. I don't think we've brought it up yet, but I love Yolanda Hughes too. I did.
Oh yeah,
definitely one of my
right
favorites.
here. This is just this man Chris. He mentioned. He said. He says Yolanda Hughes was doing backflips and cartwheels, twirls, and stuff back in the day too. And also, Chris mentioned another one. Lisa Lewis, the ebony Amazon herself, could move for a big girl.
Yeah.
She kind of,
She
I
was
think
amazing,
she, her kind of
Big
short, kind of,
girl.
yeah,
Big
she's
girl.
like 5'10", I think.
Contest
And,
weight of 180.
Yeah,
Contest weight
Damn.
180. So really big girl.
Yeah, KL, who would you, if like Chris, like just Keith mentioned, if anybody, because you could think of that really represent women's bodybuilding in your opinion?
I would say Linda. I mean, I know that's a common thing, but I think she just stood out, or maybe Corey Everson, because they just stood out for me. Like even when I picked up a magazine, I would mostly see them. So
Corey was amazing. I really loved her, and
Yeah.
she was a great ambassador for the sport too. I think.
Yeah.
Back when you were allowed to do longer than, I already mentioned this earlier, but allowed to do longer than 2-minute posing routines, she was astounding on stage.
Yeah,
because she got really into it. She showed off her physique, but she made it so entertaining for people.
Yeah,
that's like Kai. Kai was just you. Like I remember guest posting with Kai in Sacramento. I'm like, I'm going on before you because I ain't going on after you because the expectation of what the fuck you're about to do.
It's like I remember some comedians like you don't want to go on after someone like Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy or Robin Williams or even or someone even like George Carlin. You don't want to go after the greats because you're just gonna die because people they come in here and make you laugh, rolling the table, and then you come behind them and you just Imagine you being a comedian and coming behind someone like Bernie Mac. Remember, Kings of Comedy.
Exactly.
Bernie was last. You start off with Uniqueness. That was DL. DL's not DL. He has his time in there. Then you go with Steve. Steve's all right. Sam's pretty funny, but then you go. There's my auntie said, "The son of a bitch." One somebody said, he was teasing me. So you just, I think will probably come behind Bernie will be Robin Harris. And you still be dying. Those could either change, Robin and Bernie. Here, we got a comment from a man, shot from man Quincy says, Denise Messina perhaps could return maybe. Yeah.
I liked her. She was one of the first to do like some really risque stuff too. I think, I was like, dang, I was impressed.
Unfortunately, the IFBB didn't see it that way. She kind of sort of got in trouble for that sort of thing. But I mean, Keith, I'm trying to remember the year that she did it for one of the big shows. Did you ever see her with that face mask that she made?
No.
It's like you should pull that up. She really went into this. It was really. I don't know exactly what the goal was there, but I mean she made it very artistic. I mean it's just but see she also got involved into the schmodem thing. She had a magazine like that, I think called Muscle Elegance.
Yeah.
Where she was very much into that. So
it had a lot of nudity in that magazine, right?
Right. Right,
Yeah.
and but I mean, she was the editor, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean, she
her
got
because
in trouble because of that.
Yeah.
because
Oh wow.
Mary Ann, her trainer was her ex husband, Robert Messino, and she used to do also used to come and work and do the work with because these had her own little thing too. After that magazine ended, it was kind of like that was truly, I would say like this. It was if you're a schmo, that was um the penthouse of women's bodybuilding. If you're a fan of that, women's physique world was like more like Playboy, but that magazine was penthouse. Or
Mhm.
that was
Yeah.
really
Well,
and she
the
did a lot of
Hustler.
I
videos.
remember I had an issue with that. Like back in the 2000s, early 2000s. I used to see
Yeah,
them in newsstands, man, and then I was like crushed when you ain't see them the magazines no more. Man, yeah, man. I'm like, I remember one time, like I went there was this video store and the listings it would like when you have picked up like a women's physique world magazine, they would
Yeah.
show like the listings of the video stores where you could go and purchase like a video, like a wrestling session video,
Really?
and yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
yeah, they would have listings of it.
Like a
And
Wow.
there
video
was
Scott
this
Hall.
tape you could buy. Yeah,
I,
that's
I
yeah,
still
true.
get I still get leaflets from them every. I had ordered from there for maybe 10 years. I still get the leaflets in the mail. I got one.
Oh,
Was
you
it week
do?
before last? Yeah, I still get from
Wow.
them.
Wow.
I like I said, I don't have
yeah.
a DVD player, so I don't. And the magazines I got nearly half of them, just about most of them, but still there's some I
The
maybe.
internet did it. That like, cause the
Yeah.
internet like closed that those stores down. Cause one day, like I went to, everybody know I live in NYC, and the store that I wanted to go, it was in Manhattan, and I was looking for it, and I was like, where this place at? Like, what happened? I was like, yo, not no, what's going on? I was
I,
like
they
crushed, man.
they
I'm
have
like.
New Jersey, I think Chicago. I used to see they said the list of where they were dresses, but just like how movies are now, how Blockbuster and Hollywood and Gallery, those things went up is because
It's true.
people can go the internet. Yeah, the internet killed a lot of the
Yeah,
video stuff.
it was
Here
cheaper.
we
I realized that it was more cheaper because them tapes they cost like $50, like just one tape. I
Yeah.
mean, like and I was sometimes I was like on and off for work, and I couldn't like get a tape every day like that. So I'm like,
Well,
It was
yeah,
back
it's
yes,
like one
2000
God
dollars.
bless
one
the internet.
one group that I loved reading back in the day, Women's Physique World
Yeah,
Yeah.
magazine.
yeah,
One of
yeah,
like the really classic. I mean, they really didn't get. I wouldn't classify it in the same category as like Muscle Elegance because I mean they're
yeah,
dealing a lot with the competitions as well, and they're
yeah,
like report on what's going on. But I mean, it was still a wonderful magazine. They're
yeah,
still active. I mean,
yeah,
I found they're
Yeah.
online. I mean.
yeah,
So now
yeah.
you can
oh
not,
yeah,
not
'cause
you can
They got
not only download digital copies of every single issue of the magazine
yeah.
that they
That's
did, but they also did a lot of DVDs
yeah,
themselves of people who are now famous. I mean, in bodybuilding, and all of those are available for digital download as well,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
or
didn't know
a
the
lot
site
of
was
them
still up.
are. So yeah,
I thought the site
so
was.
it's like
I thought
Hey, Jeremy,
the
off
site.
subject, you want to know something? So there, I can't remember the guy's name. I just seen it. I gotta look it up. There's a new bodybuilding movie coming out with the guy who
Oh,
did Creed.
Jonathan Majors,
Yes, and
Magazine Dreams.
here's a problem I have with this.
Mm,
Jeremy sits there, and Jeremy always says this: when you put movies out like that, what do the people relate us to? PEDs. And this guy goes fucking crazy from the trailer I've seen of it, and I'm like, another bad example. Is
right,
that what we really want to be depicting our sport as? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
right,
You guys got
And
to go look at
Keith,
the trailer because I mean he plays. They said it's Oscar-winning a performance. That's
and,
how.
and Keith,
okay,
But
and Keith, guess who's in that movie with him?
who?
Mike O'Hearn.
I know Michael Hearn's in
Yeah,
that movie with him, and I said,
yeah.
how again to make movies like this? Even when they did the movie with Weeder, they had no drugs related to it. And when
mm,
you relate a movie like this, and it's going to be very impactful, even Generation Iron, we talked about it, but it wasn't shown. In this movie, they're showing it now. Like this guy is like, And it's a movie, of course, but again, it's the affiliation with the sport
Right.
that I'm like
Yeah.
this. Like I said, from what it sounds like, the guy, the I can't remember the actor's name because he got in a bunch of trouble after
Jonathan
Marvel.
Majors.
Yeah, because he was supposed to do a bunch of Marvel stuff and got in trouble.
Yeah.
So this is his comeback. But they said it's Oscar winning. I mean, I watched the trailer and it's amazing. But again,
Huh.
only thing I thought about Jeremy when I seen it, I was like, Jeremy's right. We're never gonna get away from this.
Well,
Yeah.
at this point, I take a look at it this way. I mean, it's like, and it's like pretty much any topic that Hollywood takes on. You can either just believe what they say and
Yep.
realize every single Hollywood movie takes artistic license with any historical material ever. So it's like you can't always get your history. You can't get your history from Hollywood. I mean, you have to get that from the eyewitness accounts, people talking and such like that. If people are going to be so fucking lazy to stop at a Hollywood movie and assume that they've gotten a top quality education in bodybuilding, that's their intellectually lazy fault.
Yeah.
Because those of us who follow this know they don't represent everybody. I mean, you've got genuine natties who are in bodybuilding who have never touched the stuff, who also love to bodybuild, and some of them put on really good muscle,
Well, and
both
supposedly,
both male and female alike. But I mean, if you're going to allow a Hollywood movie to dictate your knowledge on a subject, which really it doesn't do anything more than reinforce the stereotypes that are out there, which is why it's probably going to do well because people already believe this shit.
yep.
So I mean, if you're not prepared to go deeper and you're not prepared to get the straight shit from people, that's their own lazy fault. And you can't do anything about it.
And the funny thing is,
Yeah.
remember, Michael Hearn to this day says he's natural. So to do a movie like this, it's gonna be like, what? It's like, really? You know, you sit here and say that you don't do gear, which I don't know if he does or not, because Dalen Bailey said the same thing, and all you can do is take a person for face value. But yet you're playing in a movie like this where the gear is a part of it. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. I just wanted to bring that up to you guys because I've seen that and I wanted to,
Oh,
mention
I
it.
was going to bring up something earlier when we were talking about synthol. Did you? I'm assuming you may have seen this already, but did you ever see that video of I try to remember. I think it was like an African competition or something like that, or like in another country,
Yeah.
where it's like they all hit a rear double bicep pose, and the guy's arm bursts
Oh my God!
and
Like really,
it starts leaking
remember,
down his arm all
remember,
over the fucking stage floor. I'm like, oh my! It's all synthol.
remember.
So,
What was the guy
it's like it just
Valentino?
I couldn't believe that.
What was the guy back in the East Coast? Valentino?
Oh, that Greg Valentino. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We got here somebody here. I mean, Raheem Hamilton is here.
Oh, what?
Raheem. Oh. Raheem's here.
Can you
Raheem's in the
hear me
building.
still?
Tony, just saying, seeing the crime. Hey,
What's going on?
What
what's
up?
going on, brother? Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, we
just,
got some comments. Yeah, how you doing? We got some comments here. We got here. This is from Emmanuel. Shout out to Emmanuel. He says, I hope Amanda Michelle Patak Falstead can return. Well, I know Amanda, she's thought about it, but I don't think she's really interested in doing it because a lot of stuff is going on. We had her last time she was on here live stream, and I think she's focused on live. Also, Chris dropped a name here. He says Christy Hawkins. And I remember a while back, Christy, actually, she posted something like she had renewed her pro status and back with her 2022. And I thought she was going to return and compete too. But what she's doing mostly now, she's doing a lot of powerlifting competitions. Remember, she was young when she got in the game. I think she was like in her
Yep.
early 20s. Here she is with Jumbo Dave Palumbo. She looks in good shape. She runs her own little company. It's a little biomedical company. That's what she's into now. I think maybe I could see it. She's doing a lot of powerlifting. That could put on the side so she can compete with the bodybuilding women now. But could Christy return?
no,
No.
no, nobody can return. There's no money in it. That's
I
the
know.
common factor.
Yeah.
These
But
ladies,
it's not.
these ladies understand that again, I tell my business partner all the time: if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Don't make
And these
sense. I'm
ladies are
telling you.
making way too much money what they're doing now to put their body in that kind of risk and jeopardy.
Yeah, but like I said, that's the thing. It's just possibly because she wants to, but if she's got her business on and she just enjoys doing powerlifting, but I don't know, guys. She just looks she really plus some size. Would she hold weight now with some of the women competing in the IFBB if she did ever come back?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
the the sport itself. Okay, let's just say, I'm just keeping it real with everybody. The sport and the landscape is dying. You got TV deals that's going on with the NBA. Now NBC is kind of regretting that deal they made with the NBA because the NBA is declining. NFL, it's there, but it's not what it used to be. Bodybuilding, it's just DOA on arrival. It's been because here's the thing, the thing about the Jim Emanuel and them, they not promoting stars. This is what people need to understand. I keep emphasizing this, George, and I keep emphasizing to Keith and everybody. No one outside the bodybuilding universe know who is Mr. Olympia, Mr. Olympia. Let me tell you how bad the sport is. You have three women who are Miss Olympia, and they all hail from the state of Michigan. You don't promote that. That's a big deal. Michael Jordan was born in Brooklyn because New York is going to claim him, even though he was raised up in North Carolina. But we can claim to North Carolina,
yeah.
yeah,
I
you got
know.
him when he was a kid, but he was born in Brooklyn. God rested that Aaliyah. Yeah, Detroit. You had her, but she was born in Brooklyn. You have Linda Murray, 8-time Miss Olympia, Michigan. You have Iris Cow, 10-time Miss Olympia, Michigan. Your current champion, 5-time, Michigan. And you drop the ball. Like, you don't promote them. Um, you talked about the movie that this guy's doing, and they keep focusing on steroids because guess what? If you don't have other bodybuilders that's coming out from the '90s and the '80s, I mean '90s and the 2000s who are a bona fide star, Hollywood's going to look at the dark part of bodybuilding. That's the saddest part. I mean, as much as y'all hate Vince McMahon, but damn it, he created WWE Studios to say to his wrestlers, hey, I want you to branch off. I don't want just you be a wrestler. I want you to be a movie star. If it wasn't for WWE Studios, Dwayne Johnson would have just been a wrestler. You see what I'm saying? He let his wrestlers go out to Hollywood. Prior to Dwayne Johnson hosting Saturday Night Live back in 2000, the last wrestler to host Saturday Night Live was Hulk Hogan. After Dwayne Johnson, it's John Cena. Now all these wrestlers are not doing anything because what they're doing is they're catering to the small casual, just like with bodybuilding. This is why they was doing all that stuff, was talking to the bodybuilders. They gotta pay up to do bodybuilders who don't re-up their card next year. The money's dead. They keep catering to the small fans. And it's I mean I hope that one of the bodybuilders, whether it be male or female, said, let me go rogue. I'm going to go into Hollywood. I want to go and start doing acting. Let me be a background actor. Let me do something so people know. Because, like I said, it's a damn shame. You have three women who are Miss Olympia, and they all hail from one state. You all hear state of Michigan go, hey, state of Michigan, home of Irish Cow, 10-time Miss Olympia, 5-time Miss Olympia, your girl, and 8-time Miss Olympia, Linda Mary. That's a damn shame.
It is. But the thing
It's a
is then,
shame.
but you said
But why?
again,
Here's the question to you, Raheem.
yeah.
Why do you think the state of Michigan is not doing that?
No, no, no. I'm not talking about. I said Jim Emanuel should promote it. Guess what I'm saying? Though,
But
even
you're
though
not
even
gonna.
though
You know as well as I do. He's not a fan of the women as much. He should, but he's
then
not.
why you have then why? Okay, what about Jake? Jake should do it too. That's what I'm saying. One regard Jim, Jake. The ball has been dropped. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. This is why young people, just when they do bodybuilding, they just do it for fun, like I do. I just do it for fun. I do it to keep myself healthy. The reason why People are not stupid. They understand that the shows, like you said, you gotta pay this amount of money for what? There's no guarantee I can win this money. Why am I paying all this money, air flights and hotel? They don't. It's not even about the steroid thing. It's just about why am I paying all this? I get nothing out of it, you
Yeah.
know.
I
And
mean, honestly,
it's getting ridiculous.
but then again, most people do it because they love it. It's like it's anything. Like my man keeps it, it's a hobby sport, and they love it. And some of the ones who are the lucky ones can make a living off of it. The lucky ones, that's what it is. But if you get in the sport, understand many of them understand what's involved in it, and they still do it. Bodybuilding can may seem like it's gonna die, but as long as there's people who's willing to go out there, who got into because of personal reasons, like I said, you like to work out, you like to bodybuild, that's them. But you know what? As long as the people who's willing to take that time, make those sacrifices, it's going to survive as long as there's people who's into it.
Yeah,
Like
but
brother,
that's the
wait,
thing.
wait, wait. Yeah, right
Sorry,
here.
sorry.
Who do you want
Apologies.
to see? Yeah, no apologies. Who do you, if you forget all the bullshit, who would you want to see? If you were being a fan, if I'm in the sport, who would you want to see return? I'm asking you.
You want to see me? Who I want to see return? I
Yes.
honestly, in a perfect world, if it was a good promotion, I don't know. Let me see who retired. Okay, Colette Nelson.
We just had that. Yeah, that's a good one. It's mentioned that. Right here we got Warrior. He says this. He says,
Yes.
Alicia Young, I'm crossing my fingers for her to return. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I heard that she did some bottom thread or something like that, and she's in some issues. But if she ever gets her shit together, she still's in good shape, good condition. People liked her. She had a great look to her. Busty, big muscles. People like her. Also, here's one that I'm a fan of. About to pull this one up. Says Brenda. Oh wait, sorry. Take this in my computer acting up. Says Brenda Ragnon. I remember Brenda. Beautiful, great physique. I think great potential. Here's one here. This is from Warrior 2000. Says I miss was it Kira Newman in the WPD category. I'm hoping to return for her. I think she's done. I know I saw something with her. She doesn't want to compete anymore. It's kind of like Danny Weirden. I just saw my man Glenn interviewed her a while back, and she's doing more to that chanting stuff, a lot of more to spiritual stuff now. So she's not focused on bodybuilding.
I got one,
Also,
George. What about Monique Jones?
we just mentioned
Yes.
that one.
Yeah, we mentioned her
Oh,
already.
I
Yeah,
came late.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I came in
yeah.
late. So
yeah, you came too late. You're late to seeing the crime. Here's one name, one of my favorites, Laura Craval, for my man
Mm-hmm.
Chris, for me. Yes, Laura Craval. I remember when she came back in, was it 2000? It was just not the same Laura Craval. She was competing lightweight. She just lost a lot of muscle. I mean, just wasn't the same. I mean, she's been a runner-up for Miss Olympia title a couple of times with Linda. Was in top 5 with people like Corey. And when she came back that year in 2002, it just wasn't the same Linda Murray. I mean, sorry, Laura Craval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess something I was going to respond to Raheem about is that here's the thing. I mean, you're right. I agree that there are problems with it, but I mean, even if you did promotions like you were talking about, home of Iris or home of 8-time Miss Olympia Linda Murray or 10 times Olympia IFBB Pro Iris Kyle, even if you promoted that publicly, here's the reaction you'd get. What's an IFBB Pro?
Yep.
What's Miss Olympia?
Yep.
What is professional bodybuilding? Quite simply, what the hell are you talking about? Because I mean, most people in the world not only have no idea about bodybuilding, they flat out don't care about it. They just simply don't. So I mean, even if you did promote it, even if you heavily promote it, it still wouldn't do well because again, it's coming back to what we were talking about earlier, Keith, with this movie.